Hello, Sea Turtles. My name is Miss Rubain, and I'm the school counselor for any of you who I may not have met yet. Um, my goal today is to come to give you some information about student service learning during the pandemic. One of the most popular emails that I've received from you guys deals with how to earn my service hours now that we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I hope to clear up some of those questions for you today. So we've got a few objectives we want to cover. We want to make sure that you understand the three major parts to the graduation requirements. I also want to make sure that you understand exactly what service learning is. So let's start with the graduation requirements. We can think of the graduation requirements as having three parts. The first part is the 21 credits that you have to earn. And you think about earning credits is when you pass a class. So you have to take 21 of the correct classes to earn those credits to graduate. Every year-long class is 1 credit. In most of your semester classes or your half a year-long classes are a half a credit. The second part of graduation requirements involves you passing the state-mandated test. Right now, they're testing English, government, algebra, and biology. But in life, things change, so we'll keep you abreast as to what tests you have to take and pass to graduate. The third part is what we're going to talk about today, so I have it in bright red colors right here. It's called service learning hours. So I'm going to give you some information about how to earn your service hours, even though many of us are still at home keeping it safe. If you have your phone handy, you might want to have it available because there's some things that you might want to take a picture of so that you can have it at a later date. So let's start with defining what student service learning is. It's actually a teaching method that combines meaningful service to the community with curriculum-based learning. So the state of Maryland has required that you do 24 service learning hours on your own. But actually, they've also infused some of that student learning in your coursework. So when you take courses such as local, state, national government, you actually complete some projects that they consider student service learning there as well. So we're going to talk about the hours that you have to complete on your own. We call these direct service hours. It's been proven that these service hours help you improve your academic skills by applying what you learn in school to the real world. Then you have an opportunity to reflect on your experience to reinforce the link between service and things that you learn in school. So what actually are the requirements? The state of Maryland has said that you must earn 24 hours on your own. That means that away from school, you must find a project or find a place to volunteer your time for 24 hours. And you have a few years to do this because students can start earning their hours after their 7th grade year. So sometimes we have middle school students that come to 9th grade and they've already met the requirement of the 24 hours. Let's think about the steps that you need to take to earn your hours. First of all, you need to consider what activity you want to do or what organization you would like to volunteer with. Some people find a special connection with certain organizations because of things that have happened to them in their life. They may have had a family member who's been sickened with maybe cancer or something, so they decide that they want to spend their volunteer times with organizations that help people with cancer. That's just one example. So you can think of something in your life that has happened or something that you've dealt with, and maybe you'll choose organizations that relate to that. You want to make sure the organization is approved. It has to be a nonprofit or religious institution. Some examples of that are schools, nursing homes, hospitals, libraries. There are many nonprofit organizations, but you just have to check and make sure that the place that you've identified qualifies as a nonprofit organization. I'll give you a terrible example. One of my students volunteered for several weeks cleaning up at a barbershop. Now, he did volunteer because he didn't get paid, and he went there to do a good thing, but the hours were not approved because a barbershop, unfortunately, is not a nonprofit organization. The next step would be to take action, to actually go out, be in touch with a person who works at that organization or institution, actually go complete the hours at that institution. But remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so we're going to talk a little bit later about how that looks different. And you can still stay in your house and still complete volunteer hours. And then you'll reflect at the end and you'll submit paperwork. So those are all of the steps involved in earning your service hours. I briefly just talked about the paperwork. Here is a copy of the Student Service Learning Verification Form. It's a very simple form to complete. You complete your information completely. Please make sure you put your first name and your last name and your student number so we can clearly identify which student completed the hours. You'll list your current school, which is our school, our school mailing address. You'll complete this out completely because we have to send a copy of this form to the state. And then there's some questions to answer, and you are required to answer those questions. They want to know, what did you do to prepare? Did you have to speak to maybe your advisor or your school counselor about where you plan to do your hours? Did you have to get their schedule? What did you have to do to prepare for the activity? And they want you to describe the activity. Exactly what did you do? At the bottom, the information is completed by an organization representative. Now, because we're in a pandemic, the form looks a little bit different now. It actually can be signed virtually from home, and then you can save it to your computer and email it to us. You can find the virtual form on the county website. If you go to the county website, which is www, you can see it right here, .pgcps.org, and you put in the search button, Student Service Learning, you come to their page. I actually clicked on the page that talked about opportunities, and also it has the form. The form is available in English, French, and Spanish, and there's actually an editable form on the site. That means that a form that you can click on and complete on your computer. Let's think about some suggested activities now that it's a little bit harder for us to get out to organizations and things like that. You could plan a community cleanup project. Do you have a playground in your neighborhood where you walk to the playground and you see a lot of trash on the ground and it's not really safe for young kids to play around, and it just doesn't make your neighborhood look nice? You could plan a community cleanup project with some friends from our school or some friends for your neighborhood, because everyone needs to do service hours. You could use social media to plan a time and date to show up. You could show up with gloves, bags, trash bags, and other materials that you would need to stay safe. You all could practice social distancing by staying 6 feet apart, as well as to wear your mask. And you could spend an hour or two just cleaning up the playground or in your neighborhood. You could take pictures before the activity and then take pictures after the cleanup to prove your activity or to prove the job you did. That's just one example of looking around in your neighborhood, seeing a need, and then going out and fulfilling that need. Another example would be to make cards for elderly people in nursing homes. For example, there are some nursing homes that do not allow visitors in right now. So I would imagine that the people are very lonely there. So you could contact the nursing home and ask about creating greeting cards that would cheer them up. And then you mail the cards to the nursing home so that everyone's staying safe. You're being able to brighten up an elderly person's day, along with you staying in your home and staying safe as well. Dr. Williams talked briefly last week on the morning announcements about the West Coast and the fires that they're enduring right now. What is it that we could do to help people in the West Coast? Could we start some kind of drive where we collected items that were in need? I don't know, but we're leaving this up to you to think about what is it that we could do to help a fellow citizen who's in need at this point. I'm going to give a school-wide opportunity for you to earn service hours. Every year, each school is charged with having a career day. I believe our career day this year will look a little bit different due to the pandemic. We're going to attempt to do a video career day. That means that we still want you to get to hear from people and their interesting careers, but it will be via video as opposed to having them come into the school. So you will have an opportunity to find a person with an interesting career, interview the person about their career. You will videotape the interview, and the interview will be shared during our career day. You can earn 2.5 hours for completing this activity. There's going to be a little bit of paperwork and things that you have to complete, so you'll have to be in contact with me before you complete the activity. For example, I'm going to give you a list of questions that you must ask the person about their career, and then I want you to think of 3 to 4 questions on your own, because so many people's careers are different. They may have some different questions that you want to ask that are not on our list. So more details will be following about that school-wide opportunity, as well as there will be more school-wide opportunities for you to earn service hours. Let's just think about some example service activities. You could make care packages for homeless people. That means that you go get hand sanitizer, maybe masks, lotions. Cold weather is coming, it may have gloves. So I'm not saying that you purchase all of this, but maybe you could use social media and you could take donations. And from the donations, then you could make the packages for the homeless people. That would be an example of a service project. If you're musically inclined, you could record music performances on video, and then share them with nursing homes so that they could use them to entertain people. You could donate blood with the American Red Cross because that's desperately needed right now. You could visit the website dosomething.org and join one of the projects that they have on that website, where students just like you across the country are doing something to help a fellow neighbor. You could plan a voting campaign. We're in the middle of a very important election. So you could plan a campaign where maybe you and other students get 10 people to register to vote. So those are just some ideas of things that you can do and what we're asking of you. We don't just want to give you a location with an address and a date and time and you show up and volunteer. We want you to figure out what it is that you can do that can help your community. So that's what we mean by the service project. So it's you being thoughtful, you're looking around your neighborhood, you're thinking about the pandemic, you're thinking about the fires in California, you're thinking about the election, you're thinking about social justice, you're thinking about all of the things that you may see on the news or be talking about in your classroom right now, and you're figuring out a way that you can help. When all else fails, this is always my go-to. Go to Google and type in virtual volunteer opportunities in Maryland. And they will give you a list of organizations and places that are seeking volunteers and things that you can still do and help virtually. That means that you can stay in your home, you can stay safe, and you can still earn your service hours. Throughout the year, I will be posting activities, and I will post the first day activity in my Google Classroom. I ask that you please join the Google Classroom now. Here's the code. If you're not able to go to Google Classroom right now to join, please take a picture with your phone so that you have the Google code. When people reach out to our school, when we have the school-wide activities, they will be posted in your Google Classroom, as well as I will come to your morning announcements. But as soon as you can, please join the Counselor Google Classroom. On the Google Classroom, not only will I talk about service hours, but I will give you information about career fairs and college fairs and a lot of other important information throughout the year. So it's a very important Google Classroom for you to be a part of. Happy volunteering. I want to leave you with this. The more we give, the happier we feel. And volunteering increases self-confidence. So you see, when you go out and you do something good in the community, it not only helps the community, but it will help yourself as well. Unfortunately, this is a tape lesson. I can't take your live questions, but I'm always available via email. So my email is robin.rubain, robin.rubain @pgcps.org. You can find me on the website. Please feel free to email me your questions that you may have. If you have ideas about school-wide projects that we could do to earn service hours, we would gladly hear about those projects. If you have churches that are doing activities like feeding the homeless and other activities where we may be able to help with getting supplies or help with students volunteering there, please let us know. So we're looking forward to doing this together. So remember, it's not a stressful time, it's just a different time. It's different for all of us, but we will make it work. So you have until usually January of your 12th grade year to complete your service hours. So my 12th grade students, please make sure you're getting busy, thinking about where you can complete your volunteer hours and making sure that you're part of the Google Classroom so you'll understand what school-wide activities are available and that you're up to date. The other students, you have a little bit more time to work on your hours, but we still want you to start your hours as well. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you on Zoom soon. Bye.